This is News 14 Carolina, meteorologist Matthew East, and this is today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video for the 16th day of December here on this Tuesday. And hey, Christmas next week, and we'll talk about the Christmas forecast here toward the end of this video, so stay tuned. What an active weather pattern across the lower 48. That is the radar imagery from this morning during the 5 o'clock hours I'm cutting this video, and we have snow in parts of Kansas and Missouri on up through the Ohio Valley into portions of the New England states, and then a little layer of ice on the south side of that. These are the watches and advisories in effect across the lower 48. And all those shades of purple and pink you see, that's some form of winter weather watch, warning, or advisory, including the advisories in effect for ice, including North Mississippi and Memphis up toward around the Nashville area. Now, of course, on the south side of all that cold air and snow and ice, it's a little milder here as we're starting off the day here in the southeastern part of the country, but temperatures will drop as today unfolds, and here's the reason why. First of all, notice all that cold air continuing to be off to our north and west, and it's still brutally cold up here in the northern plains, still teens and 20s below zero there, and that colder air sort of moving eastward, and what's going to happen is it's going to get pushed down into the Piedmont regions and even the coastal part of the Carolinas today, as this big complex area of high pressure off to our north quickly zips into the New England states, and we have a brief episode of a Carolina wedge scenario playing out for us. And that'll push that cooler air down our way. Now, in terms of precipitation here in the Carolinas, we've had some showers this morning, and as that wedge sets up, you know the drill around here. It'll be it'll be a classic wedge scenario, some low clouds, some fog and drizzle, and that'll continue through the night. So sort of a dreary type of period setting up later tonight, and that wedge will slowly scour out tomorrow. Let's show you the setup here at 500 millibars, and this is still a setup where we have this positively tilted drop back toward the west coast, and so that's why we don't have this cold air just drilling down into the eastern part of the country. That's not the case this time. You have the shallow cold air sort of seeping down the eastern side of the mountains. So here's the setup on the surface chart, 1 o'clock this afternoon. This is off of the O of the GFS, and if you look very carefully, you can see the wedge configuration setting up. The isobar is showing you that higher pressure building down the eastern side of the mountains. And again, we'll see low clouds, some drizzle, fog, as today and tonight unfold, and falling temperatures today across the Piedmont region to the Carolinas. Temperatures will be dropping. Our high temperatures have already occurred today. All right, this is 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and it's a tricky forecast tomorrow. That wedge will scour out, but exactly how fast it scours out, tough to tell, and always a tricky forecast around here. So I'm forecasting a cloudy sky. Can't rule out a little bit of lingering rain, and for the triad zones, we'll go upper 50s tomorrow, and maybe for Charlotte, low to possibly mid-60s, depending on how quickly that wedge scours out. But there's bust potential in that temperature forecast tomorrow. And then a bit of a change in our Thursday forecast is it looks like once again we'll try to see a brief wedge event set up. So I've drastically lowered my high temperature forecast for Thursday today compared to what I had put out yesterday. It looks like we might be lucky to see around 60 for a high on Thursday. But I still think we squeeze in one really warm day on Friday. This is 1 o'clock Friday afternoon. That's our best chance to see a pretty warm day. So you have this low pressure scooting off to our northwest flow here in place. That's a downsloping flow off of the mountains. So there's a good chance we'll see some upper 60s and lower 70s for highs on Friday afternoon before things begin to cool down a bit. This is Saturday. And it's an interesting setup over the weekend. I put a little Twitter post up yesterday about watching this system over the weekend. And I'll show you the GFS and the European here. This is the GFS, low pressure taking shape over Oklahoma. And notice you can see high pressure beginning to try to push down into the eastern part of the country. That is Saturday at 1 p.m. That is Sunday at 1 a.m., low pressure in eastern Kentucky. And this is your 0 degree line up at 850 millibars. That high pressure trying to wedge down here, push that cooler and colder push of air into the Piedmont regions. Now taken verbatim, that's rain on the GFS for North Carolina. Some ice up into Virginia. Now let's switch over to the European model. It's in fairly good agreement. This is 7 p.m. Saturday evening, and again, notice high pressure pushing down the eastern seaboard. This is the 850 millibar temperatures, and what we have here, this is the 0 degree, sorry, this is the 0 degree line. This is the 4 degree line. So it's possible we might have to watch Saturday night up around the Virginia border counties, might have to watch for a little bit of an icing scenario. We'll see. Still a long way off and a lot of time to watch that. Probably a rain event over the weekend, but have to watch out at least for a little bit of ice up near the Virginia border, and certainly once you're up into Virginia. All right, back to the GFS now. I want to show you the cold air. Let me hammer this point home. It's going to get cold next week. I think by Monday we're seeing a very cold air mass push in. This is valid at 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. Arctic high pressure sitting over Oklahoma, and this time we do have that big trough in the eastern part of the country, allowing that Arctic air to surge right on down into the eastern part of the country. So it looks cold. This is Christmas Eve morning, high pressure right overhead, and this is Christmas morning, the high pushing out and temperatures moderating, and that might be too quick. In general, I think for Christmas week next week, it's going to be cold early in the week and probably still pretty chilly right on through Christmas, and we'll just have to see if we get any precip chances in here, but certainly a switch back to colder weather beginning late Sunday and especially by Monday. Pretty good charge of cold air moves in here. Don't miss that point. All right, that's it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Everyone have a wonderful Tuesday, and God bless.